Hey everyone, it's Mr. Souther coming at you with a quick little video on Unit 1, Lesson 21 from code.org about comp sci A. Today we're going to talk about the math class. It's one of your favorite classes, at least in terms of maybe not calculus, but in terms of coding. So let's get started. First things first, on Lesson 5 specifically, we're going to use Math.pow to kind of go over things. I'm going to use the exponent calculator to start. So this is part A, module 5. I'll zoom in a bit, but basically once you're done reading the prompt, you can see that essentially all we want is we have two different classes. One's going to be the main class, and the other one's going to be the calculator class. In the calculator class, your first to do is going to say, hey, can you write me a method where if I get the first number from the user and the second number from the user, can you use the first number as a base and raise it to the power of the second number? Now, normally Math.pow would be pretty straightforward, but code.org gives us a little bit of a challenge and they say, hey, can you also write the method that returns a string value, even though we're dealing with numbers? But don't worry, we have the power of casting at our disposal, so we can use that for sure here. Okay, so they're going to tell you all of this, but the main thing is I need to know because in order for me to pass the test, I have to follow some of their code that they want. So I'm gonna go ahead and copy that part in and delete the rest. That way you can kind of see this as I code on the video. So a couple things I need to note. One is when you are writing a method, right? We have our method signature. So in this case, I'm saying we're going to write the calc exponent method, and it takes in not one, but two parameters. Now, here's the kicker. You'll notice that we are getting this information from the user. So if you go back to one of the previous lessons, we have a lesson about the scanner. So they are importing the scanner, which allows us to access those methods and everything. I'll show you in the documentation what that looks like. And you'll be able to see from there, like what methods you can call, because I always forget. Um, Okay, so first things first, let's go ahead and start writing the method. Some things to note, we have public static string calc exponent with two parameters. The main S word here you need to pay attention to is static. So anytime a method is a static method, it has that static keyword. That means I do not need to instantiate an object or spawn an object in order to call the method. I can just use the class, in this case called calculator, to call the method called calc exponent. I'm noting that the return type is a string. So code.org helps us out by putting the word return there in purple and some sort of quotations there as a placeholder. If you don't have quotations here and you try to run it, even though there's no code inside of this method, it will run into errors. If I run it right now, there should be no errors. Okay, so let's get coding. I'm keeping the comment for that first number raised to the power of second number, so I can kind of keep that in mind. I'm not going to worry about the scanner yet because all I'm trying to code is just the method. So first things first, what I need to do is I need to do something. So remember, the parameter is first number and second number. So we're going to go ahead and I need to have some sort of way to store the value of both the first number, or sorry, the result basically here. So I failed the test the first time I did this, truth be told, but I'm going to go ahead and assign some sort of value called result, and I'll make it a double data type, right? Because both parameters are doubles or decimal values. I'm going to go ahead and use the math.pow. And in case you're ever confused, like, oh, shoot, what are the methods that are in um, the math class? You can go to this lovely Java Lab documentation that our friends at code.org have put together. Thank you very much. And then you can go to this java.lang and there's math sitting right there. And you'll notice here, might be hard to see if you're looking on YouTube, but there's a couple different methods. That's the absolute value, square root. I'm kind of going quickly, so I don't use a lot of time. And then POW is for power. And it tells you how to write it, which they did originally. Or I'm sorry, not how to, that's how it should be. The method signature, sorry, I can't talk. And what kind of happens as an output. So that's all there in case you forget. Okay, so then now I'm using math.pow. But remember, it has two inputs there. The first number, so I'm going to go ahead and remember the first number is already coming in as a parameter, and then the second number is also coming in. So I'm going to go ahead and store this in result. Let's go ahead and run it just because I'm doing some, scary stuff that I'm not used to, and I see that I'm running clean. There's no error. So far, so good. My advice to my students is don't ever wait till the end to just start running and just see a vomit of errors. Try and run it every line at a time if you can. If you know exactly what you're doing, even then it's possible to make a typo, syntax errors will result, and then you start getting kind of upset. Okay, so now that we have result, what we can do at this point is we can start returning the words that they want. They want whatever the first number is, which is first number. And I'm going to use a concatenation, right, to start chaining these things along. Space raised to the power of, and I'm going to be really precise here because otherwise I'll fail the test. What's next? Oh, the second number. Concatenation again, space is space, and then result. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and run this and see if I have any errors. And you'll notice right now there's no errors, but let's see what's going to happen, okay? If I go back to calculate.java, I'm going to go ahead and use the prompt user method. And so I'm like, wait a minute, where's the prompt user method coming from? I don't remember coding that. Well, in this calculator class, if you're not paying attention, you'll know you'll miss this, but then you'll see from the to-dos, like what is this prompt user thing? They already wrote a prompt user method, which uses the scanner input, asks for the number, uses next double. That's a method in that uh, scanner class, and input.close. Those are all methods that are there for you to use. So it's already done for us, which is really awesome. That means, though, keep in mind, I'm only getting one number at a time. Okay. So I'm going to use two different numbers. So I'm going to do first number, and I need to call it, right? So it's a double first number equals, you might get mad, but let's see. Actually, let's do it num1, num2. And I'm going to go ahead and do, again, the class name is calculator dot prompt user. So it's going to go ahead and this is going to ask user for first num. And then I'm going to go ahead while I'm at it. We might as well run it one more time again to get the second number, right? And then once I do that, let's go ahead and run it. Make sure, is it grabbing the two numbers? Is it running clean? So I'm going to do 2 and 3. Done. Okay, no errors. So far, so good. And then the last thing I'm going to do is let's go ahead and do a print, right? So I'm going to go ahead and call the calc exponent. And I want to print this thing. So I'm going to use, again, the calculator class because it's a static method to call the calc exponent method. And remember, it has two parameters, as it needs the first number and the second number. And let's see what happens here. So I'm going to do 2 and 3 again, just to keep it simple. And there you go. Is 2 to the power of 3 8.0? It is. So we did exactly what we need to. Let's test it. And I succeeded. Sometimes you'll have an issue. I must have done some. I was doing this in class and I was kind of struggling with the return. Note that it's all going to be spitting out as a text though, to display. If you're having issues with that, you can always try and use a casting of string if you want beforehand, but this will work. So that's part A. I feel like someone's saying do another one. Let's do population growth. Again, this is just more practice. So the more, it's kind of annoying, I know it's tedious, but the more you can practice this, the better. All right, another power one that we want to do is they want us to go to city.java, and they want us to write this method called calculate growth. Double growth rate, double time, and they're going to have us calculate it. Now, keep in mind, unlike the last method that we just wrote in the last practice, this is going to return a double value. Note that they already put 0 in there for you to hold the spot. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to use the researcher's formula and the result. Where is the researcher's formula? Have a parameter growth rate and a parameter time. Now I'm like blanking. Where is the formula? Oh, here we go. I'm so blind. So I should be able to just copy and paste in the to-dos. It's probably hard to see. But we're going to use, it looks like Euler's number. So I'm going to well, actually, you probably can't copy and paste this, but I'm going to try as a comment. There we go. It's not quite correct here. but you can read in the to-dos when you do this. It's going to be whatever the total population is. Let's go ahead and call it double total population, right? Equals the starting population. Do we have all of these declared? We have current population, which is the current population right now, right? So starting population, that's the formula the research is using. So here we call it current population. I'm going to use that. And it's going to be times, I'm just reading the to-dos, 2.7, which should be Euler's number, to the power of, basically, I'll use a caret, growth rate times time. Okay. So remember, I'm going to do times 2.7 to the power of. So what that means is going to be math.pow. I'm going to go ahead and put a parentheses around this whole thing, just so I can keep it contained. And it's going to be the base, which is the growth rate. That should be a parameter. I'm going to go ahead and delete this because I can't see everything on my screen. So it's going to be the growth rate, which is the parameter, raised to, times the time. Yeah, so times time. There you go. Let me just make sure I did that right. So again, I'm looking at the researcher, says starting population, which we have a variable called current population, times 2.7 to the power, I'll put a little caret there, growth rate times time. So math.pow, so this is great, growth rate times time, but I don't have the base. The base is the 2.7, comma. I'm going to use one more set of parentheses to close that out. Let's go and run it, and I should see if I'm running into errors. So good. I don't have any errors. Now we need to test, is this thing true or not true? Let's go ahead and update return. It's not returning 0. We want it to return whatever this is. So I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste it right there. Run it again. Just make sure there's no problems. Okay, good. And then I'm going to go here, call the calculate growth method to get the estimated growth and print the current estimated population. So again, this is going to use, let's see here. Oh, here we go. So we've already created a Manhattan object a city object called Manhattan for us that has the name and then presumably the current population. I'm just looking at the constructor. Yep. So the constructor says that second parameter is, or second argument is the current population. Okay, so it's called the calculate growth method. So again, I'm going to call the calculate growth method. But the question you should be thinking about is, where is this number? Remember, there's a return. Where's it going to be stored? So I'm going to do double. Is it going to be precise? It should be fine. Double, let's say answer. I don't know. I don't know what you call it. So just solution or answer equals. I'm going to use the class called city, right, to call calculate growth. And I need two numbers, which is Manhattan would be the object. Okay, so remember, I'm going to put this in here. So I need some sort of double A and double B for this, for the arguments to pass as the parameters. If I don't have two numbers, it will not work. Why? If I go back to calculate growth, we just made it. I need two parameters here, right? I need the growth rate and the time. Well, right now I don't have a growth rate and time, do I? Did they give it to us? I guess they just want us to use whatever. Have a parameter. Oh, they just want us to come with numbers. Okay. So I'll say growth rate. I don't know. I'll just say 2. Time is, I don't know. Let's keep it 10 years. Let's just see what happens. Oh, I have an error. So city.calculate growth. What's the matter? It has a problem with a non-static method. Can't be referenced from a static context. What happened here? So did I call the calculate method? I did. And then did I get my parameters correct? Oh, I see the problem. I'm so dumb. This is not a static method, my bad. This is just us using the math.pow correctly. The error says, hey, you're trying to use a static method, but there's no static method. I checked here. Do you see on my, I missed it, I guess, but do you see how the calculate growth is not static? It's just double. So that was my error. So I can't use city. Guess what I'm going to use? Now I need to use the object called Manhattan to call that. Let's try one more time using that object. My bad. There we go. Okay. So then now answer has the, so let's go ahead and print what the answer is. The current population is, and let me just see, did they give me an accessor method here? Oh, they did a two string. So they want us to use the two string probably. Yep, there you go. So name current population. So I'm going to call the Manhattan object. Let me just make sure I didn't miss something here. Okay, no parameters. So let's just try that real quick. That's the current population. Do we have a new one? And let's go ahead and do, for the new one, I guess I'm gonna do, can we do a two string with that? Let's see. So system dot out dot println. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go ahead and update Manhattan. Do we have any? I feel like I'm missing something here. We did calculate growth. We did a two string. If I wanted to manipulate this, sorry, I'm just trying to figure out what they want us to print the current and estimated new op. Okay, so if I want the new population, I don't have to use a two string. I could just say, hey, system.out.println, the updated growth or population is, let's do a little concatenation. I just need to print answer. And that should work. There we go. Although that number is very, oh, there we go. It's very big. Let's go ahead and do a test. Anything with E is the power to. So it's something to the power. It's scientific notation. So it's 1.06 to the power of 11, or 10 times 10 to, or it's 1.06 times 10 to the 11th power. That's what it's trying to say. It's a big one. So there you go. There's parts A and B. Let me know if you have questions.